Hello, my name is Tom, and in this video I will solve SquareCells puzzle number 24. Here we go, a couple of group clues that we can already mark, like this. There is nothing to deduce from these group clues yet, I think. No, there isn't. So let's start again by, like as usual, by looking at the clues of the columns. We have 3 squares here, plus 2, plus 1, that's 6, plus 2 gaps, 8 squares that I need. We have 10 squares, so yes, I can mark this square. Let me show you. If I'm counting the clues from the bottom here, that's 1 square, a gap, 1, 2 squares, a gap, and 1, 2, 3. So the 3 squares reach here. And if I count from the side up here, it's 1, 2, 3. So this square is definitely part of the 3 connected squares. In this column I have 2 times 3 connected squares, so here the 3 connected squares at the top can only be positioned like this or like that, because this square was marked already. So, and this part of the 3 connected squares can only reach up here basically, so this square cannot be reached by either of those 2 groups of 3 connected squares, so I can delete this square here. Here we don't know how to put these clues in yet. Here at the bottom of the column I have 3 connected squares only, so since they can't be positioned like this, forming a group of 4 connected squares, I can delete this square. Here I don't know if this is part of the sequence of 2 connected squares or just 1 separate square, so I can't do anything there yet. Can't use this clue. I can't use this clue too, or either. Here we only have separate squares in this column, so I have to make this a separate square here. And here we have 3 connected squares at the top and a separate square at the bottom, which is this one, so I can delete this square. And this column clue doesn't help yet. Anything with the group clues yet? No. So let's look at the row clues here. Sorry. Here we can't do anything yet. Also the 6 unconnected squares doesn't really help yet. 4 unconnected squares, there's just 1 square missing, but still we don't know where to put that. Here we have 3 connected squares at the end, so again they cannot be positioned like this. I can delete this square. Here we have 1, 4 and 1. Let me see from this side. 1 square here, a gap, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4 connected squares in the rightmost position would end here. And if I count from this side, 1 square, a gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, those 2 squares are definitely part of the 4 connected squares. Here we don't have any clues yet, and here we have 2 times 3 connected squares, yes. This sequence, where they can't be connected obviously, so we need a gap, oops, we need a gap somewhere in here, so we have 1, 2, 3 squares, like this, or like this. And this 3 connected squares can be like this, or like this, so they can't reach this square. I can delete this one, but I can't mark anything else yet. Here we don't have any clues. Here we only have 3 connected squares, so I can delete this square here. And here we have 6 connected squares, and we exactly have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares here, so let's mark all of them. And this also completes this group of 6 connected squares, so I can also delete these squares. Nice. Now let's look at the group clues. Oh yes, here the group of 5 connected squares cannot touch the group of 8 connected squares. I can delete these 2 squares. And before I go back to the column clues, I also want to fill in this clue here, because that's so close to the last row that I did. The 3 connected squares can only be positioned like this or like that. So that's this part already. So let's move back to the column clues. We have 3 connected squares, 2 and 1. 1, 2, 3, gap, 1, 2. Yes, this separate square at the bottom of this column is the only one that can be positioned in here, because if we wanted to position 1 separate square and 2 connected squares down here, we would need 4 squares all in all. And since we only have 3, the 2 connected squares and the 3 connected squares have to be in this upper section of the column, and they can only be positioned like this. I can delete the gap in between. And look at this column again. We have 3 connected squares. They're up here. either like this or like that, and 3 connected squares down here. Now since they can only be positioned like this or like that, I can delete this square too. Here in this column we only have separate squares, like this. Here we need 2 and 3, that doesn't help, no. Here we need 1 and 2, also don't know how to do that. And this here, it's easy to miss because you might think this column is already completed and you're not looking at it. Before I often miss this clue. This column is completed, so that means I can delete all of these squares. Isn't that nice? Okay, here we still have 8 squares left with only 7 squares to mark, and I don't yet know where I have to put the gap. At least I wouldn't know how to deduce it yet. So let's look at this clue again here. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, there is nothing to do here. We have 3 and 1 and 2 connected squares. No, also don't know anything here. Okay, so let's move back to this row here. Or is there anything with the group clues yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, actually we do know that this group of 5 connected squares, even in the case of all these squares being marked, we still need 1 more. So the group of 5 connected squares has to extend into this direction. And so let's do this clue again also. We have 3 connected squares up here somewhere and a separate square down here, so we can do these 2 quickly. Okay, looking at the rows again, we have 2 connected squares in the beginning of this row, so I can mark this one and delete this one. This one doesn't help yet, this one doesn't help yet. Here we have 3 connected squares at the end of the row, only possible like this. In this row we have 4 connected squares and they have to be here, obviously. Here we have 2 times 1 separate square. No clue yet where to put it. Yes, it can't be here, because the group of 5 and the group of 8 can't touch, so I can delete this square at least. Here we have 3 connected squares. This part is already fully completed, but here, like, I put in as many clues as I can, but here I can mark another square there, because the first 3 connected squares can only be positioned like this or like that. Here I also can't deduce anything else. Okay, so let's have another look at the group clues here. I can delete this one. And actually, no, I can't do anything here. So let's go back to the columns here. Here, we have 1 separate square somewhere here, but it could be here or here, basically. Potentially also here. Here we have 3 connected squares at the top completed, so I can delete this square. And bottom 3 connected squares could be like this or like this generally. Okay, so I don't know where to put them. Here we have only separate squares, so I can delete this square too. 1 square is somewhere here. In this row we have 2 connected squares at the top. It can only be those 2 squares, so I can delete these squares, and we have 3 connected squares at the bottom. So this column is complete. And this also completes the group of 5 connected squares, so I can delete these 2 squares, which means this square here is the separate square. I can delete these 2 squares as well, and we have 2 connected squares up here, either positioned like this or like that, so this one can be marked. Here we still don't know where the gap has to be, right? No, I don't see yet how. Okay, so here we only have separate squares. We can delete these 2 squares, yes, and here we need 3 connected squares that can only be positioned like this or like that, so I can delete this square. And here we have 2, but we don't know where. Do we? No. Let's go through the rows, because there's a couple of things I can do there. Here I can't do anything, however. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares that I have left, but I need 6. I have 3 squares marked. I just mark 1 more, but I don't know where. Here we have 1 square, either here or there. Both appears to be possible. In this row, I only have 2 separate squares left to mark. Here I have the 3 connected squares at the beginning, like this, and this completes the group of 8 connected squares, so I can delete this, this, and this. But for this group of 3 connected, this row of 3 connected squares, they could be positioned like this, right? And they could also be positioned like this, yeah. So I don't know, but here in this row I can mark this one square, yes. Okay, anything with the group clues? 3, 3. I think I have to do something with this 5 here, because like I don't really have anything more to work with in the columns. Oh yes, here I have something to work with. I need 2 connected squares here, and they can only be positioned like this or like that. So I can delete these squares and this one. Yes, right. And now I can indeed use this clue here to work out where the 5 connected, or the 3rd square has to be in this sequence, because if I would put it here, that means this square would have to be deleted and this square would have to be deleted. Like here we have 2 connected squares, only 1, 2. Here we have 3 connected squares, only 1, 2, 3. So I have to delete this square and this square, leaving me with only 4 squares in this group where I need 5 squares. So I can delete this square, the 3 connected squares have to be positioned here, and in order to complete this group of 5 connected squares, I have to mark this square as well. So the 2 connected squares in this column can only be positioned like this, and I can delete this square because I can only have 1 separate square at the end of this row. Okay, for the final step here in this puzzle, I do have to play the what if game, and I want to show you first of all the option that I can rule out, because basically it's about these 2 options: 1 separate square either here or here. Yeah? Can't know from just looking at it, like just looking at these clues which one is. It has to be, wait, actually there is something else I can do. In this row I can see that I need 2 more separate squares, and these 2 squares can only hold 1 marked square, so the remaining square, this one, has to be here. That completes the 2 connected squares, so I can delete this square as well. And here I need the 3 connected squares at the top, so I can mark this one. Yes, but that's about it. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4 squares marked already, so I need 2 more squares in these 3 squares here, and 1 more square in either one of these 2 squares. Yeah, and I don't know where, and 1 more square up here. So I don't know if there is an easier way to deduce this, but I work like this. I just see what would happen if I would put 1 square here. First of all, I would have to delete this square, and because I need 4 squares in this row, I would have to mark this square. Let's do it. Then I would need 1 more square in this row, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares here. 1 more square in this row. This clue tells me I need 1 more square in this row also. Now this clue tells me that I need 1 more square in this column, here or here. And this clue also tells me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares marked already. I need 1 more square in this column. Now the only way to comply with these clues, again, 1 square in here, 1 square in here, 1 square in here, and 1 square in here, is either like this or like this. Now as you can see, in either one of these positions, the top square here is detached from the group of 8 squares, so we are left with a group of 7 squares only. You see, also like this, you have 1 square that doesn't connect to the rest of the group. So actually that's not the valid solution. It's impossible to put 1 square here. So the square, this separate square, has to be down here. We can delete this square here. We have 4 squares in this row completed, so I can delete this square. And that means that here, this group of 8 connected squares has to move into this direction, and also there, because we need 1 more square in this row here, like this. Now this column is completed with this square, so I can delete this square, and I complete the puzzle by marking the remaining square. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope to see you again in my next video when I will solve puzzle number 25. Bye!